Idaho has some of the most beautiful towns in America, with more mountain ranges and lakes than you can count with your socks off, and more outdoor activities than you can shake a stick at. But there is one town in particular that absolutely takes the cake, and I'm calling it. It is the most beautiful town in Idaho, and that's what we're gonna tell you about, and we're gonna show you. We're not just gonna tell you, we're gonna show you. It's right down there. Let's go! Okay. So obviously anybody can make this claim about any town in any state. I get that, it's subjective, but I have certain criteria that I'm going off of, and I'm gonna show you all of the things of why I think this is the most beautiful town in Idaho. And I wanna hear from you in the comments if you agree or not. Before we get too far in, welcome to another episode of the Living Life in North Idaho YouTube channel, where we talk about what it's like living, eating, working, playing, and buying real estate here in Idaho. If that's of interest to you, tap the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so every time I come out with a new video, you get notified. Let me get buckled up. Okay, don't mess up the microphone. All right, let's go. The very first thing we're gonna talk about is the Long Bridge. It's the very first thing you see when you come into Sandpoint from the south, and it is just shy of a mile. Now, why does this make it one of the most beautiful towns? What does that add to it? It's just really gorgeous. Look at it. I mean, it's spanning the width of the lake. We used to try to hold our breaths as kids trying to get over it. I was never successful. I could be now, but not as a kid. Now, I think what this does for people who live up here, it's kind of a signifier. As down in Kootenai County with Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, Rathdrum, they're all starting to kind of meld together because of the growth and development. Sort of a sign going, yeah, we're not doing that, guys. We are our own separate entity. We're our own separate thing, and it really is. Sandpoint is very special. It's kind of a hidden gem in Idaho. Now it's becoming more well-known, but yeah, the bridge, having to cross that bridge, you know, okay, this is not part of the area that we live in down in Kootenai County. This is its own thing, and I think it just adds more to the allure of Sandpoint. But let's talk about Sandpoint real quick. So Sandpoint has about 10,000 people in it. It is surrounded by 3 major mountain ranges: the Bitterroots, Selkirks, and the Cabinets. And you can see, as I show you videos, it's gorgeous. You're surrounded by major mountains. Now, tourism is obviously a big part of Sandpoint's economy, but surprisingly, there is some major manufacturing going on up here. Lighthouse salad dressing, you might see that in your grocery store. That's here in Sandpoint. Oh, I see a deer. Hang on, hang on. Bonk. Okay, thanks for that. Sorry to keep you waiting. The economy is mostly made up of tourism, but you actually have some major companies that have started and run here in Sandpoint. So you have Lighthouse Salad Dressing, you might have seen those in your grocery store. You have Timber Sled Snow Bike Kits, which was started right here in Sandpoint. And actually the owner sold that to Polaris and started a new company called Mountaintop, which I have, and it's good. You also have Thorn Supplements, which is actually my favorite supplement company. My dad used to sell it when I was a kid, and I still use it today. It's very high-end supplements. But overall, you're not gonna be able to come here and just get a normal job and make a good enough living to have a good life here. I just want people to know that, and that's kind of becoming more of the theme in Idaho as people are discovering it. Now, you can absolutely start a business and do very, very well if you have what it takes. It's just that the economy here, minimum wage is $7.50 an hour or whatever the federal minimum wage is. Barely any jobs pay that anymore. They're gonna pay higher because they have to, but just know the economy's not super strong. So let's dive into the other reasons why this is the most beautiful town in Idaho. You have Lake Pend Oreille. It is the biggest lake in Idaho at 148 square miles. It's 43 miles long, over 1,700 feet deep, and it is full of fish. We're talking, I had to write it down. We have lake trout, rainbow trout, northern pike, largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, kokanee, walleye, and a dozen others. So as far as being a fisherman, it's really, really hard to beat. It also gets pretty windy with all the mountain ranges around it. So if you love sailing, it is the perfect lake for that. Now, being that it is the largest lake in Idaho, it does stay colder for longer. So you are going to have to get used to getting in a little bit of cold water until about July, August, where it does warm up, but it's just part of the lifestyle up here. Next, you have downtown Sandpoint. Now, we have a lot of great downtowns. Downtown Coeur d'Alene is awesome, but it's changing pretty quickly. That's one thing I love about downtown Sandpoint is it still looks very much like it did when I was a kid. They have some pretty strong regulations in place to help preserve downtown, where down in Coeur d'Alene, we're seeing more and more high-rises come in, and that wasn't actually supposed to happen. There was a moratorium that got changed a while back, and now you're seeing more and more of that. The other thing is, and not everybody loves this, but VRBOs are restricted in downtown Sandpoint. You only have about 32 permits for right in downtown, which, I mean, as a local, if I owned a place, I wouldn't mind that. That's pretty nice so that you don't really have a lot of changes taking place in the neighborhood. It's just the locals that are living there. The median home sales price is around $603,000, so it's up there. But when you compare it to places like Tahoe or Vail or one of these other ski resort mountain towns, it's actually still pretty affordable. There's also quite a few houses that have not been updated, and working with the right realtor, you can actually get a good deal on it. And just a real quick plug, that is what me and my team do. We have the Living Life in North Idaho Realty Group. So if that's something that you're serious about looking at doing, getting moved to this beautiful place, those were railroad tracks. We'll talk about that in a second. You can absolutely reach out at the phone number or email address listed below. Day, nights, weekends, it does not matter. That's enough of that. Let's get back to the video. So the next thing is Schweitzer Mountain. Now, this was the top ski resort when I was a kid, and it still pretty much is. You've got about 5, all within about an hour and a half of North Idaho, but Schweitzer has done a really, really good job. I believe, I'll have to look into this, but I believe they sold to the company who owns Vail, which also means that the prices have been going up. But it is amazing. You have over 90 runs. There's over 2,800 acres of skiable territory. You've got multiple fast lifts that are over 4 people, quads, and I think one carries 6. I don't know what you call that one, but it's really, really awesome. It really, as far as a place to go and ride and be able to have fun, Schweitzer really does take the cake, and it's pretty much in view anywhere you are in Sandpoint. It's really awesome. Now, this next one is a big factor for me. I love living where there's wildlife, and you have a lot of wildlife here in Sandpoint. There is a lot. So you are gonna have moose, you are gonna have elk and deer, mountain lions, grizzly bears. There are grizzlies up here, so definitely be aware of that. I've yet to see one, just so you know. I hunt, I hike, I've never seen one. They are on the endangered species list, so it's not super common. But you have coyotes, you have wolves, you have all the animals. And it's wild. They don't seem to understand property lines and definitely don't respect private gardens. So if you do want to live in Sandpoint, you want to grow some food, you're going to have to make provisions to keep the animals out of there. But it's a big factor, man. I mean, being up here, Sandpoint is where I got my moose and I got a deer all in the same area. Tons of wildlife up here. And I know for a lot of people moving to Idaho, that's a big deal. And it's just another reason why this is the most beautiful place in Idaho. For me, beauty needs to go past the aesthetics. It's got to be accessible. I need to be able to get out and enjoy it. And Sandpoint does a great job with that. They have a lot of biking trails, a lot of hiking trails. One of my favorite biking trails that I like to take my kids on every year, we bring our bikes up, it's just the Sandpoint Byway Trail. It's only 2.5 miles long, but as you can see, it runs along the river and the railroad tracks. It's just a really cool spot to go. There's benches that you can sit and relax. There's spots to be able to fix your bike if it breaks down. It's just a really easy, chill trail. Now, as my kids get older, I like to do a little bit more challenging trails, but when you have younger kids, it's a really, really great spot to go and hit. And what's great is when you're done, you just go into downtown, you grab them some ice cream or some hot chocolate. That usually gets them to stop crying because you've been yelling at them the whole time, and everybody's happy. And on that topic of areas that you get to go and enjoy, Trestle Creek is one of my favorite spots for hiking. and snow biking. It's a little bit outside of Sandpoint, just east of it, but it is miles of hiking up in the mountains, and they do have some amenities. There is a warming hut for wintertime, so when you're out there snow biking or snowmobiling, you can go get warmed up. They also have bathrooms in the summertime so that you don't have to bury your stuff. You can actually use a bathroom and have some toilet paper, which is pretty nice. But yeah, you drive up there. All along the way, there's this beautiful creek. You get up into the mountains and you have some of the most killer views in Idaho. I'm telling you, it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's also great for biking. I'll have to check. I haven't ridden my dirt bike up there. Not every place allows dirt bike riding, but I'll try to leave it in the comments or in the description if it is. You also have some golf courses for those that don't want to go out and explore on the trails and potentially get lost. You can go hit 9, 18 holes. In fact, I'm driving by it right now. And it really is gorgeous. Just know you are surrounded by the forest and mountains. So you are definitely, you play enough, you're gonna see deer, you're gonna see elk, you're gonna see a moose out on the course. But to me, that just adds more to the beauty and to how awesome this place is. Now I'm gonna park real quick because I have got to film this mountain range. You got the sun hitting it just perfect, and I wanna show you guys. And lastly, you have the Pine Street Woods, which is a 180-acre forest park for anybody to go and hike and bike around, to be amongst the animals, to breathe the fresh air, and just get away from everybody for a minute. And that's really what the lifestyle here is in Sandpoint. Yes, you have town, you have a Walmart, you have major stores, you can do all of your shopping. There's no Costco though, just so you know. It's an hour south, so you're gonna be making that trip on a regular basis. But yeah, Sandpoint is actually on my list of places that I would like to retire to. My wife is well aware of this. I love it up here. I've always loved it up here. It's its own special preserved spot of North Idaho, and that's why I think it is absolutely, easily the most beautiful place in Idaho. But I want to hear from you in the comments if you agree. And if you are serious about getting moved here, reach out at the phone number or email address listed below. We do have more information about Idaho, so don't just click off. Don't go and be with your kids or your wife. Learn more about this wonderful place and make an awesome life for them. I'm just kidding. Go be with your wife and kids if you need to. But I hope to see you on the next video. I'll talk to you later.